Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Meet the Speaker series. I am Debbie Levine with the NCGR Florida Atlantic Chapter, which is down here in good old sunny South Florida. And I'm so excited. I have the privilege of interviewing April Kent today. Some of you know her as April Elliott, right? April Elliott Kent from Big Sky Astrology. And she is going to be coming not live, she's coming on Zoom. We're having a Zoom, so you can participate from anywhere around the world for this event. It's happening on May 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern. 12 p.m. Eastern. So that's a Saturday, May 16th. It is going to be on Zoom. You can participate anywhere. And the topic that we are going to be talking about then is about the moon, right? And the being in rhythm and the emotions of the moon. And what's so interesting is that I'm actually interviewing April today on the Scorpio full moon. I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect. We're going to be talking about the moon, and today we have the Scorpio full moon. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce April, let her tell you a little bit about herself. And April, I'm always curious, so when you are telling us a little bit about you, um, I love to know what got you into astrology, right? We all have, like those of us that are into it, there was some call that was like, all right, it's your time. How did astrology find you?
Yeah, I was a pretty young girl when it found me. And I had a brother-in-law at the time, not a brother-in-law, a stepbrother. And I went over to his apartment and he had Linda Goodman's sun signs sitting on the coffee table. Well, what's this? Started reading it and completely fell in love with that. And then I was off to the races. So I studied on my own for many years because this was in the 1970s. There was no internet.
Oh,
There weren't
wow.
even a lot of books in the library. So it was a question of reading what I could. And I think I was close to my first Saturn return when I started studying with a teacher. I think it was about 27 or 8. And she was a fantastic teacher. So I had that great experience for a couple of years and then went out on my own to be a professional. And I've been a professional ever since. But I was working in 9 to 5 jobs for a long time. And I wasn't a full-time astrologer only until 1990. But I have been doing it pretty much full time since then. So I love it. And I don't know where people are starting with astrology now. I think so many of them are online and finding their teachers online and listening to podcasts and all of that. There's a lot more information readily available to the
Yeah.
beginning student. And I always thought, oh, people must start out with sun signs or whatever, surely in the beginning. It doesn't seem like it seems like they're going from zero to Hellenistic astrology in 15 minutes. So I don't know what the process is like now, but for me, it was a very gradual one. And it was also the emphasis so much in astrology when I was coming up in the 70s was very metaphysical and really spiritual. And some of that, the more accurate it was, the more kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I would get into it and then I would kind of back out of it a little bit and then I'd get back into it. Now I don't know that that's as much the emphasis, but it might be. But the Scorpio full moon's the perfect time to be contemplating that and thinking about it. Yeah. So that's my story. That's how I got started anyway. And I started my website kind of early on in 1999, and then I registered the domain name the next year. So it's been going for 26, 27 years.
Oh, it's going to have its Saturn return.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, it has its birthday next month. So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
that's my story.
I love that.
Mm.
And so, yeah, so it sounds like you've done a lot. And I know you've written several books, right?
Mhm.
One of them was on aspects. Well, maybe share with us a little bit about the books that you've written and the topics that like you hold close to you.
I'm not sure they're the same thing, but let's give
Ah.
it a try. They are sort of. But I started out in 2008. I published my first book with Lou Wallin. It was called Star Guides to Wedding. Star Guide to Weddings, frankly, wasn't a great experience for me
Uh-huh.
because I didn't know I was writing a book about weddings. I'd have written a very different book. But it was really supposed to be a sun sign book for marriages. So that's what I thought I was
Oh,
writing. And it's not a terrible book. I think it's out of print now, but you can, get a ebook version of it. And then I wrote for it was Penguin Publishing. An agent found me through an agent at Llewellyn, and they were trying to place a writer for this A to Z astrology book, just a simple
no.
book. So that became my book, The Essential Guide to Practical Astrology, that came out in 2011, I think. And that one has done really well for me. It was popular, for a lot of years and got recommended on a lot of best of lists and stuff. I'm very proud of that book. And then I ended up republishing it. And then the next book was back in 2015. It's been a long time since I wrote a book. And that was Astrological Transits. I wrote that for another publishing company. So I like that book. And both of those last two books were written so quickly on these very aggressive deadlines. And to this day, I can dip into them and find stuff I have no memory of writing at all
Yeah.
because it all went so fast. So, but I'm proud of both of those books. I really do like them. And I have another one that I'd like to write, but I was telling you before, they'll probably have to wait till I'm retired and really have the time to do that. Writing books is pretty intense, pretty intensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So that is awesome. And I have the transiting aspects book.
oh, okay, great.
It's somewhere on my shelf of like a
Mhm.
zillion. We all have a zillion astrology books. Somehow I don't know how they multiply.
They do. They get together in the evening when we're not around, and before you
Oh,
know it.
but the wedding one sounds interesting. I don't know what the flow of it was back then, but I bet a lot of people, because people come all the time and saying like, "Oh, is this a good match or is this a good match?" And how do I pick my wedding date? I even remember seeing an astrologer on there like throwing charts up of like dates she was considering,
Yeah,
getting people's
I
opinions.
just recently did a webinar on that. I think it was for Kepler College, and I hadn't really spoken on that topic a long time, but it used to be 90% of what I did was choose wedding
Oh,
dates for people. And the reason I say I regret that first book and that if I'd known what they really wanted was a wedding book, I'd have done it differently.
yeah.
It's because I didn't include any of that, all of the steps and the important things and research of all the research I'd done and all of that, because I didn't know that's the book I was writing. So what I'll get from time to time is people that are leaving nasty reviews or something because none of that stuff is in there. And I'm like, I know. I I know. I regret.
Maybe that'll be the quick next book. No.
No interest, no interest
No.
whatsoever. I did think the rights have reverted to me on that book, and
Oh,
I could theoretically expand it out and do that, but I did that for 15 years, and I don't think that's what I want to write about in
you're
retirement.
done. That phase
Yeah.
is that cycle's over.
Yeah, I think that one's
We're on to
over.
the next phase.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Oh my gosh. Well, talking about phases, so how did you get like what brought you to the moon, right? Because this is such an interesting topic. So for
Mhm.
those of you, just to give a little flavor, April's going to be breaking this workshop into like three different pieces, right? So like first she's going to go the quick, and correct me if I'm wrong. I should probably let you tell them how you're breaking it into three pieces. So yeah, you'll get it more accurate than me.
Oh, well, the first section is really about the transiting moon and specifically the lunar phases, but also I'm probably going to talk about the void of course moon, which I don't think I included in my write-up, but it's kind of a passion of mine. So I'll be including that in there and also talking about the lunar return, which you get every month when the moon comes back to your natal lunar position. Then the second section is going to be about the lunar phase family cycle. And this is a cycle that was identified and refined by an astrologer named Dietrich Pessin. She's a Boston astrologer. Fantastic, because she has a great book on the subject.
Oh,
So the way that works is you take the degree of each new moon, and every 9 months you'll get a major lunation near that same degree of that same sign. So
mm,
if we had the new moon at 27 degrees roughly of Aries back on April 17th, 9 months from that, there'll be a first quarter moon close to that degree of Aries.
Mm.
9 months after that, a full moon, and 9 months after that, a last quarter moon. And it's a fascinating cycle. I don't know how she ever noticed this and thought to make it into a system, but it's so helpful because the things you might want to do in a transiting lunar phase from one new moon to another in 29 days, there's only so much you can do. But when we're talking about the lunar phase family cycle, which goes basically for 3 years, you can do a lot. So
Wow.
that's a fascinating cycle, and I have some fun examples to share. So we'll look at that. And then we will look at the progressed moon, and
Hmm.
we will talk about by sign, by house, and by phase. Because what's so great about the progressed moon is it's the only progressed placement that will go through every house and every sign of
Yeah.
the zodiac. So you get a taste, you get to experience a little bit of each lunar sign and house. So we will do that and look at hopefully people's charts. I would love people to submit their birth data if they would like us to talk about their chart, and know that there's no guarantee I can get to everybody. We'll see how many
Right.
people we have. But it really is a great way, I think, to bring all of these cycles and things to life is by being able to talk to the person who's sitting there and say, well,
Right.
was it like this? Was it a
Right.
little bit like that? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I was just thinking, because I was just looking at my my moon calendar book. I'm like, I didn't even realize this. May 16th. May 16th is the Taurus new moon.
Yep.
Did you plan that?
No, not at all. It was
You
offered
know
to
what?
me as the
I know,
date.
and I was just going to tell you that there's no way for you to plan it because our workshops are always the third Saturday.
Ah, there you go. So it
So
just
that,
worked out.
oh my God, like that's synchronicity,
I think it is.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're
I think it'll
talking
be
about the
great.
moon, and then we have you coming and talking about it on the day of the Taurus new moon at
Yep.
25 degrees and 58 minutes.
It all comes together.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And that's one out of all, I always go through every year to like circle which new moons are the most impactful for me.
Hmm.
And that new moon is exactly almost to the minute opposite my Neptune and Scorpio.
Oh, yeah. That will be an interesting one. Well, and going to the idea of the lunar phase family too, because obviously we have 12 to 13 new moons every
Right,
year. And do you look at every one for 3 years? And clearly you don't. It's
right.
just like if you have one that's impacting your chart in a big way, then
Yes,
you're going to want to follow that scenario
Michael.
through the 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I was curious before, but now I'm even more curious. I'm thinking I gotta play that out. I gotta see what it looks like for the next few
Yeah.
years because it happens to be in what I call the fifth house of fun because Neptune's in my fifth house, but
Mm.
the sun and moon will be in my 11th. So
Mm.
see what type of new people and organizations that I'm gonna perform for.
Yeah, exactly. And have fun with.
Right? We got to have fun with it. I'm like,
Absolutely.
I was so excited when I saw your topic because I'm a Cancer rising and I'm such a moon girl. Like I am
Hmm.
before I even like was deep into astrology when I was traveling at a young age. I went into consulting right away and they'd always send, they send the newbies as far away as they can. But the moon is what always felt made me feel connected to home.
Mm,
Right, without
yeah.
knowing any of like that the moon happens to be associated with the fourth house, right? I think,
Yeah.
because I could be on the phone with whatever, with my boyfriend at the time, right? I was young back then, and be like, oh, well, look at the moon. If we're both looking at the moon, like the sun is
Right.
close, right? Or I could say that to
Yeah.
my mom or my dad when I'm, calling to check in, let everyone know I'm alive out here,
Yeah. It's the
and
touchdown. You're quite right. Yeah, it is the thing
right,
that connects us to home. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
So, the moon. And what's lovely about the moon is it connects us to everyday life. So
mhm,
it's that rhythm of everyday life and what it is that is important to us. And in the progressed moon, it's a focus of 2.5 years. It's where am I really focused? We're not necessarily consciously aware of that, but between the sign that it's going through, the house that it's going through, and the phase that it's in, it just connects us to something a little bit larger in our experience. So it's what I like about the moon, and taking it in three different pieces like that, saying, okay, here's 1 month. What does that do for you? What does that look like? What are the most important things? And then the lunar phase, when it's like, let's say you have a really important new moon, like you were saying, the May one is for you. And then what you would want to do is during that month, it's kind of a preview of coming attractions. It is a condensed version of a bigger theme that you're going to be working on for the next several years.
Right.
So it's a really nice way to get a feel for it and examine it through all the phases. And then you can see, because as we go through the lunar phase, we things come to our consciousness that were not there in the beginning. At the new moon, we don't know which end is up. It's a
Right.
dark phase. And then through the process of taking some action on it at the first quarter and then starting to get a clearer picture at the full moon and then one more action in the last quarter, we really start to get a full sense of what we planted at that new moon. And going into the next 3 years, how do we want to maybe change that a little bit so
Right.
that it is truer to what we really want and what's important to us? So
Yeah, right. It's
that's,
close to our heart,
yeah, yeah.
right?
So that's why
So,
I'm excited to be doing this on the moon. Yeah.
right. I mean, I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. I'm like, out of all, right, that we could have invited you, we have a speaker every month
Yeah.
that we end up having you on the Taurus new moon. I'm
Yes.
going to make sure that she has some good comfort food and goodies for us to snack. Oh, we won't be. Oh, by the way, in case
No.
you missed the beginning, we're going to be on Zoom. So make sure you have your own comfy snacks and get your
Exactly.
blanket, right? Cozy on the couch while you're watching this on Zoom.
Everybody bring your pets. It's the best part of being on Zoom. You get to see everybody's animals. It's great.
Oh
Mm.
my gosh. So do you use the moon? Like, are you a moon girl? Do you like to?
Kind of do. I have to admit, days will go by. I have no idea where anything is in the sky. So
Oh,
I'm dealing with different charts and things in the future. But I always acknowledge the new moon. I
mhm.
always stop to take a look at what's happening at the full moon. So I am somewhat conscious of those things. I like the void of course moon for various reasons that I'll describe in the webinar. Um, so I really like those things, and I'm always on top of the progress moon because it's
Oh,
going a
yeah.
little slower. And especially if it's in mine right now is in Libra, which is a sign I have nothing in.
Mm.
Nothing. No asteroids, no nothing. And of course, I married a Libra to try to figure out what the deal was with that sign. But when the progressed moon is going through a really different part of my chart, I'm paying a lot of attention and trying to learn from it and trying to say, what is this about? We think it's something like Libra and we think, oh, it's about relationships. Well, I mean, I'm in a long-term marriage and I have my close friends and that, but what does it mean more deeply than that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so.
I know it's so simple. Everyone's like, oh, Libra relationships. But there's a lot to Libra than just relationships. It's even just the
Hmm.
collaboration, right?
Hmm.
Of,
Yeah.
of,
And getting things into balance and
right.
trying to address the issue of fairness in your life and things like that that I don't always think about because I'm not a Libra and I got a really strong Mars. So
Right.
I'm kind of in the opposite part of the
Right. Or
world than
even
that.
like restoring peace. I know I'm like,
Mm.
I have, right? I have all my planets are in Aries. My Mercury, Chiron, my Sun, Saturn, North Node, loaded, all Aries.
Yeah.
And so the only Libra I technically have is my South Node in Libra.
Mm. Yeah.
But I so for me and my progress moon's in Virgo right now, so I do feel like this will come in my next phase. It'll be about with all that I've been through, about restoring peace.
Yeah, well, because Virgo's not about that at all. And that's what's so wonderful about watching things go through the signs because each switch is kind of dramatic. The only
Hmm.
one that is kind of akin is Capricorn and Aquarius because they share the same ruler.
Right.
least. But everything else, you get this huge shift from one sign to the next. And I love Virgo. I really enjoyed my progressed moon in Virgo because you get down to brass tacks and you're creating good systems for things and it's wonderful. But it definitely is not about things being balanced. It's about
Mhm.
things being right. This is right and that isn't. So Libra is like, well, look at it from both sides. I was out walking with my husband the other day, the Libra, and he was trying to kind of like pull me away. There was a car coming. We were walking on the road, and he was kind of trying to pull me back, and kind of kept pulling. I got a little snippy, and he said, really. I'm trying to protect you. And I said, yeah, I know that. And there's also the thing where Libra gets accused of being indecisive.
Mhm.
And he said, I'm not always indecisive. A lot of the times I know exactly what I want to do, but I want to give you room to talk
Right.
about what you want. And
Mm.
when I first got married, it never occurred to me I should run things past another person just to be polite and because we're in this relationship. And so that's been a really interesting lesson. And that's the thing with Libra too. Sometimes they're just trying to really make sure they've looked at both sides of everything, but sometimes they're deferring to other people in the relationship to try to let them have their say. So
Letting you weigh in, right?
yeah, you learn so much
Right.
going through these progress moon signs and phases. I'm
Hmm.
about to have my progress new moon, so I'm very excited about that in just a couple months. Yeah, you only get that one every 28 years, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So that,
Yeah,
and are we going to tell, we'll touch about some of those things on the progress moon too? Some of
yeah,
the
absolutely. Yeah, the progress phase, which
phase.
by
Yeah.
then will be familiar to everyone from the first two parts of the talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but the phases throw people sometimes.
Yeah.
So they'll be fun to take a really close look at.
We'll look at them and see. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think for me, just reminiscing back, I feel like going from Aries progress moon to Taurus was the hardest for me. Like
I'll
that was
bet.
like
Because
a
you had the green light, with the moon in your sign and
and
touching
right, I was gonna
everything.
say, yeah, with all my Aries energy and the progress moon in Aries, and then all of a sudden Taurus, it was like,
It was like,
whoa.
bam, you hit the brick wall.
Yeah.
Much.
That I think out of all of them, that was the most impactful.
I
Vir-
get it. Yeah, that would be tricky.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Virgo
Yeah.
is so interesting. Like, you talk about like the timing. And when mine went in, what are we in 20? So my progress moon went into Virgo in October 2024. Yeah, 2024. And I was going out to a conference, and the track I picked was about astrology and health. And I didn't
Hmm.
realize at the time that the day I flew out there, my progress moon moved into Virgo.
Oh, I'll
I
be
thought, how
darned.
interesting is that? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, I like it. It wasn't really my gig, so it's not something I move forward with, but
Yeah,
it was, it's good to know for your own chart and my own self,
of course.
I'm always like, oh, would that be something I'd want to like eventually repackage and teach in my own
Sure.
way? But
It's where your focus is
right, your
with the
focus.
progress moon. And
Yeah,
and it isn't necessarily going to be the same for the next 28 years, but
yeah,
it's like general education in college. And
right.
every now and again you take something because you have to take it and you realize you're in love with it and that's what you're going to
Right.
major in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to fall in love with my major. I did a lot.
Yeah.
I have all that Aries energy. I do a lot of starts, and then I'm like, do I want to finish this one? I don't think so. Next,
Yeah.
next, next.
I think that's frustrating. That to me would be the frustrating part of Aries, but I've got a lot of fixed sign planets. Is
Yeah.
that and other cardinal signs, like I say, I live with a Libra. He's this way. Cancerian people, y'all are this way, which
Yeah.
is let's get it going. And I just figure let people do what comes naturally to them and what they're good at. And if
Yeah.
you're really good at initiating things, because a lot of people are not, you initiate them and you pass them off to a fixed sign person, and they'll be more than happy to just keep it going in perpetuity.
Exactly. That's what I was like.
Yeah.
Where are my fixed people? I need
Yeah.
you. I need you. I
Yeah.
need someone.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to divert for a second. I'm excited that you are going to talk about the void of course moon. So for those of you that are reading the description before signing up, that's a little something extra that April wants to talk about, and I personally love and follow it like
Mhm.
ridiculous. Like I'm at the doctor's office and they're like, "Can you take this date?" I'm like, "Wait, I have to go. I created my own void of course moon calendar that I
Oh,
downloaded to my
okay.
phone. So I'll like sit there and I'll like literally go right on my phone version and like quickly look to see. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I could come then. Or no, I can't.
Well, it was
I don't think.
interesting, and I did a whole talk on this years ago, and it was so interesting when I was researching it that I found all of the things that had always been taught about the void of course moon just didn't always end up being right.
Yeah.
And I dug into it. I found examples from my own life where definitely things, because the adage is nothing will come of the matter. And I think that I've come to a conclusion about that. But what I did find was sometimes it just means things keep going and going and going.
Right.
It doesn't mean nothing happens. It means you better want this because it is going to keep going, going, and going. So there are a lot of interesting things. We'll go back and look at William Lilly's rules for the void of course moon, which is very
Yeah.
different than in modern astrology, and see how that has influenced the way I look at some important charts. So it's a great topic. I'm going to actually offer it as a standalone class again soon, but I love to
Yeah.
sort of include it with the transiting moon because it's the thing we look at
Right.
each week,
Yeah.
maybe for those 2 or 3 times that it's
I know,
void
because I
of
remember
course.
when I first learned about it, it was like kind of black and white, like avoid the void, right?
Yeah.
But then the more I learned, I'm like, no, you just have to make sure you're doing I hate using the word right, but things that will benefit versus not benefit. Like if for me,
Yeah.
I'm like in my day, if I can go and chill out during that time or go to the gym or take care of something, then, I'm like, I'll do that. I won't start a new doctor appointment maybe on that day, on that day. Like,
Hmm.
so now I think the more, and you're right, because different people, they teach it different ways and it kind of made me feel better when I
Yeah.
learned, like, it wasn't like I was so nervous in the beginning days of like avoid the void, like don't do anything, to
You
like
can't live that
decide,
way.
yeah,
And
right.
right now we're having these super long void of
Long
periods.
voids. Oh my
You can't
gosh.
just put your life on hold. It's like a retrograde planet or something. It's as you say, you have to know what to. I have a couple of good suggestions for things to do with a void of course moon. So we will be talking about that.
Perfect.
Sure.
Perfect.
Mm.
So I'm glad. So okay, so we're going to be talking about the regular 29-ish day cycle. And
Hmm.
then we're going to talk about the void, of course, which happens during that cycle, which, like
Hmm.
you said, right now we're having very long void of
Very long
course.
ones. Hmm.
And then from there we're going to get a little bigger and we're going to talk about the phases, right? Well, that happen over the
Yeah, we'll
3 year
talk a
period.
little bit about the phase, just the transiting phases as well, because that's
Okay.
just the skeletal, outline for
Yeah.
everything. But yeah, the lunar phase family cycle is where that system really comes into its own.
Yeah,
And
I
we'll
think that's
talk.
going to be very interesting. I don't really see that topic talked about a lot,
No,
so
there are a
it's
few
very unique.
people. Yeah, it is really unique. And I heard about it from, you might know Celeste Brooks. She's
Yes.
a very good astrologer. And she was listening to our podcast, and somebody had written a question to us about this 3 year cycle or 2.5 year cycle. And we were puzzled, but she wrote in, we didn't know her yet. And she said, yeah, it's this. So she has done some presentations on it for sure. And I just love it. It's a
Yeah.
subtle cycle, though. And
Right.
when you try to track it from beginning to end, sometimes I had to go back and really go to my calendars and my journals. And because what happens is, especially as I said, at a new moon, things are happening on an unconscious level to a great degree. And you don't necessarily know what you're starting then. And throughout the whole cycle, there's usually one important lunation that's kind of missing, and you're not sure what was happening then. So, but it's a really interesting cycle. I think you'll love hearing about it.
Awesome. And then from there we go out the next layer bigger, and that's when we talk about the progress moon and those cycles.
Yeah.
Fine. So we're covering a lot. So for those of you listening, our workshop is on May 16th. It is going to be on Zoom, so you can participate from anywhere in the world. You can participate in your pajamas. You could be out at in your bathing suit, like lying at the pool. I don't know who's in the warm weather. It's going to be from 12 to 6 o'clock Eastern time. So adjust that for your time zone. And everyone who signs up, you'll also get the replay. You'll get a replay too. So if you are someone that like 12 o'clock Eastern time is 3 in the morning your time and you're going to be asleep, you could catch us when you wake up at 7 for the last couple hours. No, I'm only teasing. That would be, you could do that too, but you could get the replay and then you'll be able to listen and have that experience. And this is such a wonderful treat that April is offering you to potentially send in to her. And I believe we're sending it right to your email address. Yep, April at bigsky.astrology.com for an opportunity for maybe your chart to be used as one of the examples. It's always fun to have the
I think I
people.
gave a cutoff date on that too, and I'm
You
not sure.
did. It is May 11th. It is May
Okay.
11th. So, yes, I know. April needs some time, right? This is, to put
I
this
want to
all
look
together.
at them,
Right.
figure out where they fit well and all of that. Calculate the chart, make a picture of it and all of that. So yeah, that would be great. But I hope people will send those in.
Yes, perfect. I know. I'm going to be sending mine in.
Yay!
Yay. So anyway, everyone, this is such a great opportunity to come and learn more about the moon than meets the eye. And so that, that you can get in rhythm because it's one of like April even mentioned in the progress moon, it's like the fastest moving one, right?
Mhm.
So, so many people are spending time talking about Pluto or Uranus or Neptune, but like if you want to really get in rhythm, and it's nice to be in rhythm with the universe, right? It's so nice. Um, with just and your personal rhythm, right? Because that's also the thing about it is that this is very personal. It's not just about the collective and the moon today is in Scorpio and then tomorrow, then I'll be in Sagittarius in a couple of days. This
Mhm.
is about personally how it's impacting you. I know a lot of people think like, oh, every full moon and new moon's about me. Well, I mean,
Especially Leos like me. Yeah, I think you make a really good point, and I think that we can really look at it both ways. We can say, because especially in traditional astrology, the moon rules the public. It is very public. It's not just our own personal thing, but getting into the rhythm of what people are looking for when the moon's in a particular sign and what's going to resonate with them best. And where it falls in your chart says, yeah, this is where you're really doing your work today. So it's multi-layered and fascinating.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, this was fantastic, April. Is there anything else that you want to tell people
I
before your
mean,
workshop?
you can catch my weekly podcast that's new every Monday. It's the Big Sky Astrology Podcast, and I talk about the major transits for the week and so forth. And always visit my website, bigskyAstrology.com, and you'll find many, many, many things there, articles and tutorials and all kinds of stuff. So that's it. I will be at UAC in September doing a couple of presentations there. So if you are in Chicago at that time and you want to get together, let me know. Send me an email, April at bigskyAstrology.com. We can have a coffee or a glass of wine or something and get acquainted. That would be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. It's been a long time.
I know, and I love Chicago.
Yeah, me too.
I love Chicago. So, well, at that time of year, I didn't love Chicago when they sent me there in the winter and the blizzards and the snow, but
I'm
September is nice.
sure.
Not
Yeah,
too hot, not too cold.
It's a it's a fabulous city. And
Yeah.
it was new to me when I went to UAC in 2018. I ended up going for something else that year too, but I fell completely in love with it. So I'm excited to go back.
Yes, Chicago is great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, everyone. Remember, bigskyAstrology.com. That's where you can find April. Send her an email if you sign up for this workshop and want your chart to be an example. And make sure you sign up as soon as possible because you got to get that chart in before May 11th.
And I have to say, it's a little better if people are going to be there live.
Yes.
If
Thank you
because
for saying
then we can really be asking you live feedback
that.
about your
Right.
chart. And if you can't, I understand, I don't want to penalize people that are in New Zealand or
Right.
something, but yeah, try if you are going to be there in particular, send us your data.
Perfect. 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 Well,
Mhm.
thank you so much, April. It has been a pleasure.
Thank
And
you.
everyone, I hope you can come join us again. It's May 16th, 12
Yes.
p.m. Eastern Time. And somewhere below this video, there's going to be a link for you to register.
Fantastic. Debbie, thank you so much. It's been delightful to meet you and chat with you today. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. Ciao, ciao,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.